everybody, it's me Ryan here, MandRproductions, and welcome to the very first episode of Building Hoth, my new LEGO Star Wars MOC building series. Guys, I have never really built a MOC, and I've definitely never done a MOC building series, but this is going to be an amazing adventure, and I can't wait to see how it goes. If you guys are excited, hit that like button. If you guys have any suggestions for my Hoth MOC, leave in the comment section below. I might ask some other questions throughout the video. I don't know what's going to happen yet, but if you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button too. Guys, this is my first real MOC. I mean, this is the first time I've ever really sat down and tried to build something of this scale. As you can see behind me, I've kind of got the tables already set up, and I want to get a little bit of building done this week. I don't know if it's going to be a weekly series or if it's going to be bi-weekly. It might alternate, so I'm just going to call them episodes and not weeks. As far as challenges throughout the building process of this MOC, I think the biggest challenge for me is going to be learning a lot of techniques. I obviously don't know a lot of building techniques, as most of the things I build are just sets out of the box, and I don't really build a lot of MOCs. So I think this is going to be an interesting and very great learning curve for me. I think a lot of you guys might learn a lot too during the series if you're novice builders like myself, and I'm really excited for it. I actually have a lot of snow troopers and Hoth rebel troopers, so I don't think we're going to have to worry about getting any of those for the series. As far as ships go, obviously I do have a lot of ships and sets already. As far as AT-ATs go, I think we're going to use either 2 or 3 AT-ATs in the MOC, and I think the type we're going to use is the 8129 type, not the motorized type. However, I have a preliminary idea for making the motorized type actually able to walk in the MOC, which would be absolutely amazing, but I just really don't know how I'm going to make that work, so that's probably not going to happen, so don't get your hopes up, but hey, if I can figure it out, we'll get it done. As far as the Hoth Rebel base itself, I'm hoping to make this thing huge. I'm hoping to have the doors motorized, and I'm hoping to have some great interior features as far as like maybe a Tauntaun area, a Hoth Wampa Cave outside of the actual Hoth base would be a really cool little Easter egg, and other type things like the ion cannon, the shield generator. Obviously the shield generator LEGO has produced for us is lacking, so we'll have to update that a little bit, if not make my own, so that will be a really cool and fun process. Guys, I hope you're as excited for the journey as I am. Let's go ahead and get started with setting up some of the layout. So as you might be able to tell, we're working with some odd dimensions for the MOC. My room doesn't really allow for me to have 2 6-foot tables set up. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to build basically the Hoth base over here. At least this is the plan. We're going to build the Hoth base over here, and then we're going to have the battlefield with the AT-ATs out over here, the ion cannon on one side, and the shield generator on the other side. I'm planning on having like a pretty big area for the Hoth base itself. Like I really want the Hoth base to be like here and back. Like I want to have enough space to fit in the Millennium Falcon. I want to be able to fit in some snow speeders in their little hangar bay areas. Maybe even an X-Wing on the other side would be really awesome as well. As far as other features in there, I'm going to look at some other Hoth MOCs to kind of get some ideas. And I think it could be a really cool interior and have some really cool stuff as far as like different levels go. I think we can have an open exterior where you can see inside of the base would be really cool as well. But right now I do want to go ahead and try to set up these base plates so that we get an idea of the space we're working with. Another thing I do want to note is that I do want to build the MOC like up a couple of bricks. I think building it up a couple of bricks actually works really well, and we'll get into that here in a minute, but I do want to build it up at least 1 brick, probably 2, so that we can get a nice trench area for our soldiers outside, and then we can have a really cool inside base area as well. So I think building it up 1 or possibly 2 bricks is going to be the best way to do it. I'm leaning towards 2 bricks simply because you get that better kind of area for your soldiers in the trenches. Okay, so we've got all the base plates laid out and connected, and there are a few small issues that we're going to have to solve before we can actually build anything substantial on here. The main issue that I've found is that these 2 tables are not completely level with each other. You can see here, that's where the tables meet, and the problem here is that unless this is connected very strongly, that thing has a pretty substantial gap. I mean, that is substantial. We can't really have that. So my one solution for this, I think, is going to be to put everything on this side. Like I think I'm going to put something underneath the feet of this table, and it's just going to raise it up just like maybe a tile, like, you know, 1 Lego tile I think could do the job here. So we're going to try and put some pieces under there and see if we can raise it up just by a tile. I think that's just about the height we need. You guys can see there. It's not too much, but it is substantial. It's enough to where it needs to be corrected for. For some reason, the center of this table just has a little bit of lift to it. So if we can get this lifted up just a little bit, I think we're going to have a much better time building. So let's go ahead and test that out. So I put a single 4x8 plate underneath one of the feet, not any of the other feet, just this one foot, and it did raise up this table. However, it raised it up way too much. You can see it's a completely different height difference now, and that's a problem. You can see even now this is the lower side, which is another issue. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to remove that. We're going to use something a little bit less substantial, and we'll see how that works. So despite a couple different attempts, I was unable to really get the gap to work the way I want it to. However, I do have a theory that once all the weight of the bricks is on top and the plates are crossed over, I think it's going to be just fine. I think that having a couple bricks up and then a couple of, layers of plating and everything is just going to basically bridge the gap and it'll be fine. The other idea I have is to put in some Technic pieces and have Technic pins connect the two sides, and I think that's going to work great as well. I think I'm going to go with that actually, because it'll all be underneath the plates and you won't be able to see it anyway. The other thing I did find is some of my white 2x4s, and essentially what I'm going to do with those is those are going to go all around the outside of the MOC, so that the outside layer of like the underneath bricking is going to have 2x4s on the outsides of white, and that way it looks like it's all white on the underneath and everything, just so that it gets that snow theme. I'm going to build those up right now and show you what I'm talking about so that you understand, but essentially we're just going to get these white 2x4s down around the exterior, and then everything on the inside will be just a mismatch of whatever colors I have of whatever bricks. So that's how that's going to work. I'm pretty excited for the way this is going to look. I think the white is going to look great on the outside with the snow on top. It's going to be 2 bricks high, I think, is going to be the final height is what we're going to go with. And then we'll go from there, maybe a little bit of hills, just a little bit of terrain sloping with the plates on top of the actual bricks. So that's all my white 2x4s for now. I think that's looking pretty good. I think that's going to have a nice look around the entire exterior of the base plates of the MOC. And I think that's actually going to look great. It's going to connect all the base plates together very strongly. And again, once we get over here, we'll get into that probably next episode. But I think I need to get more white 2x4s. I don't know what all I have as far as white 2x4s go. I do have a lot more parts than you would think as a non-MOC builder. I've actually ordered a lot of white parts in the past. I know it's kind of covered by plates here, but there's a bunch of white parts in there. And then I have a ton of parts inside of this closet. I mean, there's actually a lot more than you would think that I have, but I do need to dig through there. I should probably show that on video. I'll do that next week, but I have a ton more parts than you would expect someone like me to have, and they are all just kind of hidden away. I also have another giant bin in my brother's room that has a bunch of random parts that we're going to use to fill in the interior side. So again, you guys can see how this is breaking apart, but I think with a little stronger connection, it'll be just fine, and we'll be able to get that gap kind of filled in. I also did move the tables slightly apart. You can see what I mean there, because if we go from one edge, like here, on one edge of the table, all the way over to the other edge, this would this kind of hangs out. This kind of has a little bit of a hangover, so I decided to just widen this gap between the tables so that you didn't have that kind of hangover on the edge. I think that works a little bit better too, as far as this little bulge in the table goes for helping smooth that over. I do want to take some of those tan bricks and start to kind of fill in this area and get some of the striping down for getting the plates on top, and I do want to put a few plates on top so you get an idea of what I'm talking about, and then we can see how good it will look like with the height for the trench as well. Alright, so I've laid out a bunch of the white 4x6 plates that I have. I also dug through that to get them all out, and I also got a bunch of the white 2x4s out. You guys can see and get an idea of how that's going to look along the sides with the white on top. I think that's going to look great. Of course, this isn't just going to be a flat white surface. I'm going to get some pieces on here to kind of get some little depth and details on it eventually. I don't think I'm going to do that in these first few episodes. Down here, I think next week we're going to start like outlining where the base is going to be. We definitely need to figure out where our trench is going to be, if it's going to be 1 trench or 2 trench. I think I need to go back, watch some scenes from the movie, or look at some still images and basically figure out where I want everything to be and finalize that for next week. I'll get some sketches done. I think that'll be really cool. Then over here, what I've done essentially is I'm making the best use of the pieces that I have, and I'm using this kind of technique. So you don't use all the pieces, you just kind of get a much better like use per your 2x4 type of technique here. If you can understand what's going on here, you can see that I put the 4x6 plate here, and instead of just filling in every single spot with 2x4s, I basically doubled my usage and getting extra two. So instead of having them all and like all these I can extend my use per 2x4 essentially. So I'm getting more out of what I have, which is great, and I have a bunch more 2x4s and stuff all up in there, so I think throughout the next week I'm going to be working on this type of area, trying to fill it in. Basically everything needs to be up to except for the trenches, so I'm basically going to do this whole area at some point, so that's going to be the plan for maybe the next episode, but I think that's a pretty good amount to get done. I mean, that's a good start. We're definitely getting somewhere. We've got something started. The base, the echo base is actually like the big doors are going to be somewhere around here, I think. That's where I'm thinking, but I don't know exactly what I want to do with that yet, unfortunately. There's going to be some tauntauns, obviously we have those. I think I might use that ion cannon. I'm just going to mod it a little. I think that's not a terrible ion cannon. As far as the shield generator goes, though, this is not a good shield generator because the actual shield generator on Hoth has 4 of these things, and the one that was included in the UCS Hoth only has 3, which is laughable. So I think I'm going to have to redesign that or kind of build my own, or see if there's like any rebrickable instructions or mock instructions that people have put out there for you to be able to build what they've built as far as accuracy goes for that. So I think that'll be really cool. And then again, the trench is going to come in somewhere in the front here that we're going to have some turrets and lots of fun stuff. So I'm really excited for what we're seeing here. So everyone, Building Hoth is going to be on Saturday evenings. That's when the video should be up every week if I do it every week. Sometimes there won't be an episode and there will be another video on that day, guys. But for the most part, this should be a weekly series, even though it's going to go by episodes. So if you guys did enjoy, smack that like button. If you have any suggestions for what I should be doing at the MOC, always leave in the comment section, guys. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'm really excited for what we're going to be doing next week. Hopefully during the week I'm going to fill in the rest of this with 2x4s, get some more plates done, and at some point in the next few weeks we're going to go on a LEGO store trip and get some more pieces. We also need to order some pieces from Bricklink and maybe even eBay. I usually don't order pieces from eBay, but if we find some great deals on some white plates or something like that, I guess we could order from eBay. But Bricklink and the LEGO store are going to be my main sources for parts for this MOC, so I'm pretty excited for what we're going to be doing here, guys. That's all for episode 1, guys. I hope you're excited for episode 2, and I'll see you all next week in episode 2.